Hey y'all, I'm Paul Bonzer and I'm back out in the shop working on another project. A friend asked me to make them a couple of these shot-pong racks. If you just stack these cups up by themselves, they're so light that it's so really easy to just knock them over. With one of these, they're a lot harder to knock over accidentally just by throwing a ping pong ball at them.
I designed and printed this template to show me where to cut for the outline and where to drill all the holes. There will be a link in the description if you want to download the template and make your own. I'm using a glue stick to attach the paper, so it should be easier to remove later. Since I'm making two of these, I'm using a sheet of scrap paper and a glue stick to glue the two boards together, so that I only have to do the cuts once rather than repeating the entire process twice. The idea is that having the paper in between will make it easier to separate the pieces later. The holes need to have a diameter of 1.5 inches, and since they're going all the way through, it's a good idea to pre-drill all the way through with a smaller bit. Then, with the larger bit, you can drill halfway through from each side to prevent tear out when the bit exits the material. My camera's battery died before I started drilling the larger holes, so I didn't get any footage of the first few holes being drilled. Also, it turned out that my glue stick and paper joint was a bit too easy to separate and started to come apart while I was drilling. I added a couple of screws to hold the pieces together while I did the rest of the holes. As you can see here, MDF makes a lot of dust. It's absolutely essential to wear a respirator when machining MDF because it emits formaldehyde and other nasty compounds, and that is not something you want to get in your lungs. My template got ripped up quite a bit from the drilling, but fortunately the outline was still intact, so I was able to cut it out on the bandsaw without any problems. I ran into a little trouble on the corners since I didn't bother switching out the resaw blade for a thinner one, but it just meant doing a few more passes to get closer to the line on the corners. The bandsaw left some fairly rough edges, so I had to spend a lot of time sanding, which is one of my least favorite woodworking activities. I didn't have any grits coarser than 220 handy, so it took me forever to get the saw marks out. I'm pretty sure it would have just been faster to drive to the store and get some coarser sandpaper. Next up, I rounded over all the edges with a 1/4 inch roundover bit on my router table. Since I didn't get all of the saw marks out with my previous sanding, and since there are a few ridges left by the router bit in a couple of places, I had a bit more sanding to do before I could get on to the finishing. Actually, it was quite a bit more sanding. It's kind of the theme of this project. There's always more sanding to do. I think I lost count, but I did at least 6 coats of Minwax Wipe-On Poly. In between each coat, I used some more 220 grit sandpaper to smooth out the previous coat. Like I said, there's always more sanding to do. The most difficult areas were the edges and the insides of the holes. This is the kind of situation that makes me wish I had a spindle sander. The edges of the MDF are also way more porous than the top and bottom surfaces. The next time I need to apply finish to MDF, I'll seal the edges with a wood hardener or filler of some sort, so hopefully not so many coats will be needed. After about a week of applying a coat every evening, I was finally done. All that was left to do was try it out. Well, I guess I'm not going to be winning any shot-pong championships anytime soon. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time.